What's up, everybody? I'm Blessed and Free. Welcome back to another episode of DOC TV. So, man, why don't you go ahead and tell the people watching what's your name and where you're from?
My name is Vince Kasabuski. I'm from Ontario, Canada. We generally I grew up in Muskoka. I got incarcerated for the first time about 2 years ago. I did almost a year in CNCC in Penetanguishene.
Damn, so you made it pretty long in life before you actually got arrested then.
I had a kind of a long juvenile record. I did 11 months by the age of 14. I then got out of trouble. Stayed fairly clean. You know, only drank and smoked pot at a young age. Once I turned 20, though, I got into roofing, learned what cocaine was, and was in denial for almost 10 years, hiding it from my ex-wife, hiding it from my mom. And then finally, right near the end of my marriage, I ended up losing my company, lost my wife, and racked up about 15 charges in the matter of less than 6 months.
Damn, you weren't even playing, bro. 15 charges. So you got arrested at one time and you had 15 charges being booked into jail?
No, I got arrested 3 times in the matter of from June till December of 2019. I racked up 15 charges all over the map, from assault to unlawful confinement to armed robbery.
Damn, bro. All right. So armed robbery in Florida, that's a PBL. What, can't they give you a lot of time for that in Canada?
Originally, I was looking at 6 to 7 years. They then dropped it down to just robbery because there was 5 co-accomplices and I was technically only the driver. Nobody actually got hurt, and it was proven that we didn't actually use weapons. They stated at just robbery. I was supposed to get over 2 years, closer to 3, but because of the pandemic, the judge gave me consideration on what the jails are like up here right now during the pandemic, and he considered me time served at a year. All
right. So tell the people, man, watching, what did you go through your first time going into jail in Canada? Like, what's that like?
Well, it was definitely pretty nerve-wracking, especially being 29 years old, first time I've ever gone in there. You know, juvenile hall is one thing, but when you walk in the doors of like a big boy jail, it's a lot different, man. Guys are like 3 times your size, especially the ones that have been in there for a while. And I went in there straight up a drug addict. I went from 180 pounds to only 125 walking in the door of CNCC. I was in there a matter of 24 hours and I was already in like the medical ward.
You were like detoxing off drugs and shit when you were going into booking?
Oh, 100%.
What did they do in Canada for people coming in like that?
Nothing.
Nothing.
Nothing. You come in the jail. When you're an opiate addict, they'll offer you methadone, they'll offer you Suboxone. But when you're a crystal meth addict, a coke addict, or anything like that, they run your process. You get your orange jumpsuit, you go to your range. I was lucky that we were kind of like somewhat, you know, on lockdown. So when I first went in, I got into a fight with somebody. I ended up in the medical ward for the first night. The next day, I went back to my cell and we were on lockdown for, I think it was 48 hours. So I kind of lucked out and I got to sleep for my first 48 hours, just generally. But for the most part, all they do is they give you sleeping meds, they give you some Tums, and they tell you to suck it up.
Well, that's a lot, because in Florida, man, you ain't getting no Suboxone, no methadone, none of that shit. You're being put in a cell and just riding it out, man. They're not giving you shit here. So
like I said, though, that's only for the opiate addicts. I wasn't one of those ones. I was a cocaine addict, so I didn't get nothing. I got some Tums and
yeah.
To go to bed.
Yeah, so you were sleeping for a minute then, huh?
For about my first 48 hours, I woke up long enough to eat my meal real quickly with my cellie and then right back up onto my bunk.
All right, man. So how long was it before, you know, some crazy shit happened when you were in jail that time?
I was in there probably, I'd say, about 2 weeks. And I remember sitting at my table and I was just, you know, playing some dice with this one guy. And all of a sudden, everybody starts screaming. I looked over to the corner and there's this guy down on his knees holding his throat. like literally holding his throat, and then the guards come rushing in and everything. We're told to all like hit the walls and stuff. As they're taking Buddy out, his arm comes down and the whole side of his, it was like all just mesh. Somebody went at it with a pencil.
Stabbed him in the neck with a pencil?
Yep.
Golly, bro. What was that over? Like that just happened for no reason, or there was obviously some shit that went down?
From what I hear, it was kind of like a hit put on him from somebody else on another range, because when they came in the doors, he ratted out his buddy. So a hit got put out, and yeah, even though that buddy was in another part of the jail, it still made it to our range, the Kite.
I knew there was some shit going on for that to happen. That's not just like a regular fight. So when you're in there, man, did you have to join a gang, or like how does that go in Canada?
The jail gangs definitely do exist. I generally I didn't join one, but I mean, naturally I did hang out in a group of guys that, you know, we were considered our own little group, but we weren't a jailhouse gang. A couple of the guys in our group, though, that have been to the penitentiary up here and been in for a while, they have been in the street or in the jailhouse gangs, and like I did get to see somewhat, you know, gang experience in there, but that's more so in the penitentiary, not much in the provincial jails up here.
So when you were in jail that time, man, like being that size, did you run into any problems? Like did dudes try you? Because, you know, obviously you went in there skinny, and sometimes people prey on smaller people. So did that ever happen to you?
If it wasn't for my buddy on the third day, I probably wouldn't have eaten. Because for my first 3 days, every meal that I got, unless I was in the cell, you know, that's part of the reason why I ended up in the medical ward, was the very first meal trays that came in. I grabbed my meal tray, I went over and I sat down at the table. And as I sat down, all of a sudden, right to the back of my head, just a crack. And then the next thing I know, I woke up and I'm going to the medical ward.
What? So you grab your tray just to sit down and eat fucking breakfast, and boom, dude hit you in the back of the head. Was that to take your tray, or was that some like beef you guys had on the street?
No, I landed on a range. I didn't know anybody. Nobody was even from my town on my range. So that was just straight up, buddy wanted my meal.
Damn, it's going down like that, huh?
That quickly, you like literally just walk in the doors. He hit me in the back of the head, and the way I went down, I guess I hit the side of my head over here, and I went unconscious.
Damn, bro. All right.
I literally woke up. Now I woke up and I was in this wheelchair being being told that I'm going to the medical ward, and I'm like, what? Huh? Wait, medical ward?
Did you even remember like what had happened at that point?
No. To be honest with you, it wasn't until a few months later, and then all of a sudden I was like sitting in my cell one day, and something just clicked in my head, and I remember sitting down there, and then I remember waking up again, and it was weird. When you get knocked out like that, you don't remember it afterwards. You only remember bits and pieces leading up to it, and then bits and pieces afterwards.
So when you got out of medical and went to another range, then when the dude knocked you out, like when you went into the new range, were people like, hey, bro, that's that dude that got, you know, knocked out over at that range? Like, does word travel like that in there?
Word does travel like that, definitely. But by the second range, you know, like I said, I got out of medical ward, I went to my cell, I slept for the first 48 hours. And then the next time I went out on that range for the meals and stuff, I didn't sit at the table with everybody else. I sat off to the side. I felt them out differently this time. I realized, okay, I'm not back home. I'm not on the streets where I run shit no more. So I kind of, you know, filled out the situation, and then met a couple group of guys, and they explained to me, like, Vinny, like, you may be something back home in Muskoka, but in here you're nothing. In here you're just a dog in a pen. Like, you either stand up for yourself or you're gonna get eaten up.
So did you end up standing up for yourself after that had happened?
Oh yeah, after that I was in multiple fights before my release. My right foot got busted when I was jumped by a couple guys. That was over some other issues that did have to do with the street. They eventually came in. They knew who I was. I got jumped. My right foot, because of being a drug addict, your bone marrow, when you're a coke addict, your bone marrow gets weakened. And in the middle of the fight, I got tackled and I went to go sideways and I twisted my foot and I literally broke the bone in a spiral way. So it'll take another 8 months for my right foot to actually fully heal. I was walking around in jail for like the last 6 months with an air cast.
So then you're fresh out, man. You just got out of jail then, huh?
I literally just got out of jail almost 6 months ago. I'm still under half a year.
All right, man. So you were in there then when all the coronavirus shit was popping off. I know in the United States, prisons weren't doing shit. So how was it in Canada being locked up when this whole COVID shit was going on?
Well, for the most part, a lot of us, like, it was weird. They stopped taking away TV time so that we couldn't see the news. All of a sudden, you know, the visitations got taken away. Canteen stopped coming into the jail. Your meals went from like already small to like half the size. And then all of a sudden, finally, you know, the sergeants came in. They explained to us that a pandemic was going on, this and that. They were going to return our TV, and they were going to actually give us a few extra channels to make up for the visitations being taken away. We did get phone cards instead of having to call people collect. We got $20 phone cards so that we could actually call people on house phones. So there was a couple bonuses, but for the most part, visitations were taken away for like almost 4 months. We went into isolation ourselves. We like legitimately like 24-hour lockdown for fucking 2 weeks at a time. You weren't even allowed out yourself. Meals came in through the hatch. I remember hearing guys freaking out, asking the guards for like phone calls and showers, and this is taking away our rights. And oh man, people got stressful. And then, you know, after 2 or 3 weeks, once they do let us out for like, you know, some range time, boom, we're back into lockdown 2 hours later because everybody's just so hostile from being locked up in their cells for 2 weeks. Everybody's worried about their families on the outside. You know, not everybody answers the phone when you want them to, you know, especially when you're on the inside. So if you can't get in touch with somebody on the outside, you know, your emotions get flared. Oh man, shit was popping off left, right, and center.
So what was like the crazy shit that you saw pop off because of all that? Were they popping off on the guards or it on inmate type shit?
Both. Both. I remember specifically on the guards the one day specifically in Penetang, our ranges are kind of like in an octagon shape. The units anyways. So when we were watching the medical table go from range to range, we're all up against the window and we're looking out there waiting for it to come to our range. All of a sudden you see like 20, 30 guards rush into range A. And then the next thing you know, you see 2 guys being dragged out, you know, literally carried by their arms and their legs and everything. And then like we're standing there, we're watching range A. The whole range got into a line at the front of the range. All you saw was a fucking line of orange. And then all the guards go in there. And then 2 or 3 other guards, you know, as they're doing the walks on the other ranges, they gave us pre-warning that, you know, we're going to be going into lockdown because range A is on standoff. They're protesting being locked up. And it eventually, when one range in there, you know, stands up and starts going on standoff, obviously naturally all the ranges start going on standoff. So then by the time the guards came around to our range, because they flooded unit 3, like they took all the guards from all the other units, the next thing I know, I just want to go to my cell and go to bed, but everybody on my range is standing around the table arguing with the guards that they didn't want to lock up. Eventually, you know, a couple of them, like, you know, they pushed at the guards and everything. They get tackled. They get thrown to the ground, obviously taken to the hole. So finally, the rest of us are like, whatever, man. Like, we're not going anywhere. Might as well go to bed. So eventually, after, you know, 3 or 4 hours, we got to go to our cells and stuff. But like, even in that situation, like, I didn't know if a riot was about to pop off. I didn't know if, you know, these guards would, you know, eventually start coming at the other guys that are just start standing off to the side, minding our own business. You never know what's going to go off in there.
you don't even have to do shit. Sometimes you just are there and it all goes down, and next thing you know, the COs are beating your ass and you don't even know what the fuck's going on.
Exactly.
When you were in there, then the inmates, they started going at it with the guards. Did all the inmates like group up together and do that together, or was there a lot of separation when that happened?
When the inmates went at the guards, two or three of them like pushed off, and then all of a sudden, the next thing you know, that whole group of them all at once, you know, it was like a wall of orange, and then like the next thing you know, even more guards come in.
Yeah.
So, not necessarily did the whole range, you know, join in. Like I said, there was some of us smarter ones that you know, like me and my group, we were sitting off to the side by the cells, and we're like, man, like there's no sense fighting these guys. They got shields, they got their
yeah, you can't win, man. When it's like that, you can't win. Tell the people watching, man, like what has been some struggles since you got out of jail, like getting back adapted into society and everything, being on house arrest. How's that going?
Well, for one, since my release, because I'm on house arrest and I'm a father, I can't necessarily just go to the courts and file certain papers. So my ex is playing these games that, you know, I like out of being vindictive. I still can't see my kid. I'm going almost 2 years. By the time I do get to see my kid, I'm not even going to recognize her. She's going to be taller than what she was. She's going to sound differently, have more words. Not to mention the fact that, you know, like when my mom does take me out the house to go downtown and stuff, you know, like before I didn't have a criminal record. I had my own company. I had a reputation. I was seen as somebody. Now I go into a convenience store. People step 2-3 feet away from me. They're like, oh, wait, this kid going to rob me? No, when I first got released also, you know, the very first night I couldn't sleep. I didn't sleep for like a week. The bed was too comfy. The couch was too comfy. I had to lay down on the floor because I spent a year sleeping on pretty much brick.
Yeah, sleeping on the floor, really.
I couldn't sleep with the lights off. Because when you're in custody, they have to have that cell light on at all times. So I couldn't even sleep with the light off. You know, when I finally, you know, started dating somebody a couple months ago, they came over to my house and they realized that, you know, hey, you know, you only did a year, but you do have issues. You have to sleep with a light on, you know. I can't have people standing behind me. You know, my girlfriend even goes to stand behind me sometimes and I twitch and I have to move and I stand behind her because I don't like people standing behind me anymore. Aside from that, I haven't gone to look for work or anything because I've been on house arrest since my release because I still have ongoing cases.
How long do you have on house arrest?
Until my trial, which is next October or November.
All right, man. Well, I appreciate you coming on the channel, man. Hopefully, when you get done handling the case you're going to trial for, maybe you can come back on and give an update on what happened with that. But I appreciate you coming on, bro, and good luck, and just keep doing the right thing, man. It'll all pay off in the end.
Thank you. Thank you, and good luck with the show.
Yeah, man. Thank you. I appreciate that. Hey, if you're tuning in for the first time and you like to hear about jail, prison, and success stories that people change in their life, man, go ahead and hit that subscribe button and turn on post notifications on all. So every time I drop an episode, you can hear it first. And with that, it's DOC TV and we're out.